that moment then, that was when I'm like, I'm never going to have to worry about money again. And to be fair, I was right. I didn't have to worry ever about money ever in my life again, and I never will. This is going to be episode 1 of a little series that I want to do, basically talking about my life, how I got here, what I do, where I came from, and anything else that I feel like could be valuable to the audience. I'm someone who has a lot of information in my brain, and I feel like if I don't get it out there, it's a waste. And I apologize in advance. I am someone who goes off on tangents. I change topic regularly, but ultimately I feel like I can give a lot of value to people and help people out. So if you're listening and you want to learn a little bit more about some of the stuff that I've learned personally, then feel free to keep listening. I have a GoPro sitting on my dashboard while I'm driving. So I apologize if the audio isn't perfect. I want to talk to everyone here to paint the picture about how I have actually got here. And I'm going to go all the way back to when I was a 7-year-old kid. In fact, I was 6, maybe even 5. I probably, in reflection, worked out now that I wasn't normal. And I don't mean that I was disabled or fucking whatever, but essentially what I've realized in hindsight is that I was doing things that were a little bit weird. For example, very much obsessed with anything that I used to do. I used to reel off footy scores when I was a kid in prep and write them in my journal. I'd sit there all weekend knowing exactly what the score was from every single game from that weekend, and I'd write them in my journal for the teacher to read at the start of a Monday and come back and literally tell her every single fucking score that happened on the weekend between the AFL teams. I was a mad North Melbourne supporter. I went to the footy with my uncles, with my family, whatever, and that was my life. Play footy, talk about footy, write about footy, whatever. But I also developed a little bit of a skill because my dad's first cousin, Tony, taught me how to do mathematics and multiplication at a really early age. And I think that there was one of the biggest head starts that I could have got ever. Now I know this is pretty boring, but I need to paint the picture. He taught me how to do times tables when I was like 6, and most people don't learn that until they're like 8 or 9. But I also watched a lot of footy, and I had this weird little fucking trait, skill, whatever you want to call it, where I could reel off any number of 6 times table as high as you like. And I had this thing in my brain where I can calculate it and do it whenever I want. And I could probably still do that now. People would come up to me. I remember sitting at a wedding with Mark McCurry and Stephen Alessio, and they'd sit there, and I was a little 8-year-old or 7-year-old, and they'd be like, what's 32 goals, 8 behinds? And I'd be like, 200. And if you want to do the math, I've just done that in my head on the spot there. But I could do that because I knew. Now, why is that relevant? Well, I was always a math mind. I'm not a genius. I then studied methods and specialist maths in year 12, did horribly at them. Basically, I was probably ahead of the game when it came to primary school and things like that. But after that, I guess my inner ADD probably didn't allow me to study, and I became more of a general good at most things, but not excellent at anything. I was sports captain of my school. I played footy I still play footy until last year. Footy's always been my life, but then fast forward to year 10, and I've always been someone who has enjoyed, I guess, seeing opportunities in other things that people might not see. So for example, in year 9 or 10, I can't remember when it was, I identified that the school canteen was selling soft drink cans for like $2 or $1.50 or something. And I thought, well, hang on, I can buy those cans for 50 cents or 42 cents or even 33 cents at Safeway, and I can sell those off to the people around my lockers, and I can make some money. And that's what I did for the next sort of 18 months on and off. I'd bring a cold bag of soft drink cans to school, and I'd sell them to 20 or 30 people around my locker through recess, through lunchtime, and then after school, sometimes catch the bus home and sell them. Through that time, I made like, I don't know, maybe $1,500 or something over an 18-month period before someone dobbed me in, and the school principal told me I can't do that anymore, which was fair enough because I was basically undercutting the canteen. So that was my first taste of being a little hustler, if you want to call it that, and someone who wants to get shit done and make money. And I kind of understood how the world works, how to make money. And for me, that's just how I thought maybe before that, through that. Finished year 12. I was never someone who enjoyed going out drinking. I didn't have my first drink until I was actually 18, and then I kind of didn't really like it, so I didn't really go out. I was kind of someone who felt a bit left out of the friendship group because I didn't want to do what everyone else wanted to do. So like, I didn't get peer pressured into anything ever. Never smoked, never touched a drug, none of that stuff. So for me, it's like I was a bit of a square, and I chose to do to study a Bachelor of Osteopathy at Victoria University in 2011, which was after I got my ATARG at 92.35, and then moved into that. Just chose that because I was interested in the human body. I kind of wanted to do physio. First year went through, learned some stuff, whatever. Second year, again, passed that. But in my second year, I basically started to learn more about, I guess, some of the stuff that I was passionate about, which is making money on my own terms. And then I came across eBay and Alibaba Express. Started off, the first thing I ever sold, I'm pretty sure, was Apple items for iPhone, where I was selling the actual iPhone cable, which actually went from iPhone 4, the big brick one, to now what you see as the lightning cable. That's a C charger, but the other end of it's a lightning cable. I was selling those on my eBay account, and I started to gain some momentum where I was selling 3 different packages. I was selling the lightning cable on its own for like 20 bucks. I was getting them for like 3. I was selling the bullet car charger, which is this, in combination with an adapter, which is iPhone 4 to lightning, and then combining that with the bullet charger here for like 49 bucks, and that was costing me like maybe 13 to buy off from China. And then I was also doing the adapter plus cable combo for like, I can't remember, 40 bucks or something. So they started to pump out. I remember sitting in class, and I honestly was selling like 6 or 7 an hour, and I'm like, wow, what the fuck? This is like pretty cool. I'm making like 100 bucks an hour in fucking uni. And that's lasted 10 days, because during that time, thinking back, I actually started, I reckon, with One Direction hoodies. That was prior. During that time, one of my mates through school, shout out to Kevin, he actually came to me, and he had previously dabbled in eBay a little bit before me, and he was selling fake counterfeit Longchamp bags. And I got caught up in that because basically what had happened, he'd lost his account on eBay, and he said, hey, can we team up? I'll give you a share of these profits if you sell these bags on your account. Mine's fucked. Can I use yours? And I said, well, not really, because I don't want to get mine banned too. He's like, nah, that's fine. What happens is you get a warning, then you get a second warning, and then they ban you on the third one. So I'm like, all right, cool. If it gets a warning, I'll take it off my account. Essentially what happened in that overlap, that happened about 2 weeks before my iPhone cables and stuff started to boom. Longchamp bags, sold a few, whatever. And then what happened, instead of eBay banning me, I actually got a PayPal ban. And PayPal is obviously linked to eBay. Nowadays you can link other payment methods, but it was the primary, almost monopoly payment method that eBay had with selling. And what happened with PayPal is if you didn't have a PayPal account or it wasn't linked, you couldn't accept the payment from people. So you couldn't sell an item. And what had happened is, or you actually could sell the item, but people couldn't pay, right? So in that time where it started to boom, there was about a 10-day overlap. I was fucking hammering. I would have been making like revenue $7,000 to $10,000 a week. It was getting up there. I was doing auctions. Some of these little combo packages were selling for like 130 bucks, costing me like 13. It was a piss take because I got in first before anyone else. And what happened is as soon as the boom happened, my PayPal account got deleted, or it got stopped. I couldn't accept payment, right? And I had like 20K locked in a PayPal account for like 6 months because they could hold it until they were satisfied that everything was sorted out. They give enough people time to get refunded, whatever. 20K locked in a PayPal. And what happened was I was still able to sell items, but no one was able to pay. So all these items were going off, bought, and then everyone's like, I can't pay. So what happened was I had to manually message all of them and basically send them an option to pay via bank transfer, which obviously a lot of people said no to because they think it's a scam, and therefore had to cancel the order. Pretty much fucked my whole eBay account. My PayPal was banned, and back then PayPal were ruthless. You couldn't challenge anything, you couldn't review anything. it was just like, fuck you, you're banned, you can't use PayPal again, you can never use it again, you can't use it on another person's name, you can't use it on your mum's name, you can't. And what happened was, I then straight away, thinking how I do, obsessive, all right, cool, these people can't pay, all right, I'm gonna link my mum's account. Bang, took about 30 payments, and then whoosh, got bang, that got banned as well. My mum's PayPal got banned, and then the eBay account pretty much got stalled. So I was faced with like 120 orders that needed to get sent out that I couldn't actually accept payment for. And some of them have accepted payment, and I ended up actually driving around to a lot of Melbourne delivering them because I didn't want to send them out in the mail, because there was also another problem where this was actually too big for a $1.20 letter, and I had to send them out as a $6 package via courier company, and instead of paying $7 a package, I thought I'd go around driving to half of Melbourne delivering them to save myself a few $100. That's how I used to think back then. So that happened. I then started selling, maybe even before this, the One Direction hoodies, maybe and after, I can't remember. One Direction, got some person in China to print the One Direction logo on hoodies, and then sold them. Sold like, I don't know, 100 of them, as well as t-shirts. And then these little wristbands, which were absolute gold mines. I'd sell them in a pack of 8 or 10 or 15 for like 30, 40 bucks, and they would sell like hotcakes to all the little girls out there that were buying them. Great. One Direction was flying then. Another thing. After that, got my account banned, moved on, I think, to about year 3, where I teamed up with my best mate, Kiro, 3rd year of uni, and we started selling iPad cases, wireless chargers, things like that. That went okay, kind of didn't really make that much money. We probably made like 10k each maybe. Little side hustle though, good during uni. Used to pretty cool stuff, learning. Also got scammed, sent like 700 bucks one day to some person on Western Union, learned the hard way there. But then basically what happened after all of that, like, it was fun doing all that stuff. I was looking always for the next idea, whatever, a lot of failed ones, a lot of ones that worked, but never really understood essentially how to sustain anything. Failed a number of times, made a lot of errors, whatever, learned a lot of shit. But come along to 2014, and that was the year where I was in my 4th year of university. I was doing my masters. It was 3 and 2 in my first year of my masters. I reckon it was like July maybe. During this time, wasn't much of a bettor, but through the time of being 18 to 21, I'd maybe placed a couple of bets, maybe just done some multis, $5, $10, whatever, EPL, soccer multis, things like that. Same game multis weren't a thing back then. And basically, actually, it wasn't July, it would have been around September, because what happened was, on my 21st birthday, this was the second time this happened, I launched a $1,000 bet on a team in the AFL. And I think it was St Kilda the first time, and no, it was Essendon the first time versus St Kilda, paying $1.10, lost $1,000 to try and win 100. And then the second time I did it was on my 21st birthday, the week of, I think St Kilda was playing Fremantle at Etihad, and basically what happened was, Ross Lyon was coaching Freo. He rested a number of players, and I think I backed Fremantle to beat St Kilda, paying like $1.10 or something, and then decided to rest half the team, obviously resulting in that team losing. However, back then I didn't realize you could actually fucking hedge it halfway through the week. When the teams got announced, I would have, in hindsight, just cashed out for $100 loss or whatever. But anyway, that's in hindsight. Lost $1,000. Wasn't like ruining my life over it, or ruining my mental state or anything, but it's kind of it kind of woke me up to, like, what the fuck am I doing with this gambling stuff? Like, even though I wasn't losing a lot of money doing the other stuff, I dropped $1,000 twice on these random bets that I didn't even know why I did it. So a couple of weeks later, I didn't bet. I'm like, fuck this, I'm never betting again, I'm never gambling again. But in the time of the next couple of weeks, I must have got a bonus bet on a Bet365 account. And I don't know what it is, but I clearly remember the moment, like clear as day, sitting in my desk upstairs in my parents' house. And it was about 7 p.m. at night. I can't remember if it was a Saturday or for a Thursday night or whatever it is. And I was looking at the markets, and I'm like, all right, I don't know how I decided to do this, but I put, like, hypothetically in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm going to put a bonus bet on this line bet, so a handicap between an AFL team. And I'm then going to go and hedge the other team and do the opposite line, and no matter what, I'm going to make money. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, surely this is not fucking real. Like this can't be real. And I called Kiro up, my best mate at the time, straight away. And I'm like, brother, I think I've discovered something. And he's like, yeah, that works. And I'm like, brother, this is fucked. Like this is the cheat code. And then all of a sudden my head's like, well, how do I get so much bonus? And then within the hour I was signing up to all these bookies, and back then you could get 700 deposit match on LuxBet, 300 on William Hill, all these different offers that I then knew how to make money from. And the funny thing was, within 2 months, knowing me and how obsessive I am with what I do, I'd gone on and made like 15 to 20k, maybe a bit more, maybe 30k. I saw an opportunity and took it with both hands, and I just rinsed through the deposit matches. Didn't know anything else about how to make money off any of the promos. Just literally used to go to, I remember we went to Monash University one day and we were just using different computers to place the bets and then sign off. We were just two-way Dutching these things. And then eventually we worked out that the line betting, which was only returning about 45% bonus turnover, was shithouse. And Kiro actually discovered three-way Dutching. And the majority of our bonus bets were going on soccer teams between $4 to $9, and then you'd hedge them across other bookmakers. Never used Betfair until 2018, and essentially we're making about 65 to 75% on every single bonus. We'd turn over the deposit, do the minimum, and fully withdraw it. That was the thing. That's what we used to do. So I made about 30k. So I don't know the exact figures. And then we went to Europe and America. I did it for 71 days. I remember the exact amount of days. I thought I was a fucking king. I thought I was the best, smartest person in Australia. I honestly did. I thought I was fucking, I'm like, man, I was betting overseas. I was spending money, throwing it away. Like, fucking, how good's this sort of thing? Just didn't give a fuck about money anymore because I knew how easy it was to make it in my eyes. That moment then, probably, that was when I'm like, I'm never going to have to worry about money again. And to be fair, I was right. I didn't have to worry ever about money ever in my life again, and I never will. That is just a full-on, that's how it happened. That's it, actually. I'm going to leave that. That's my first episode. So if you enjoyed that and you want to hear the rest of the story, I'm going to keep going. And I'm basically going to tell this in chronological order until we get to the point now. And then so you know me, you can then understand why I got to where I am now, why I decided to quit osteo, and how we've then made a business out of essentially something that we were able to do ourselves. If you like this, leave a comment. If you want any questions, leave a comment. If you want me to discuss anything, leave a comment. But most of all, hopefully I can provide you some more information and more, I don't know, cool shit in the next episode. Again, I apologize if there was not much value yet. There will be value coming, but I want to paint the picture so you understand who I am, where I've come from, what I do, and now you can understand a little bit more about me, so then we can move on to the next part. See you next time.